What's going on, everybody? Doc from Average Gamer Guys back yet again. More Halo Wars 2 action, and we finally have some good, consistent, quality gameplay, and they snuck in a few details about the two upcoming leaders that we're seeing, hopefully still in the month of June. Although I'll say up front, no specific date has been set. Nothing was mentioned about the date, and the gameplay we're actually getting is from E3 in the Terminus Firefight mode. So we're jumping right into it. Got a bit to talk about. We're going to talk about through some of the leader powers. I'm not really going to focus too much on Terminus Firefight. Really trying to focus in on Jerome and the Arbiter. And here we go. We're jumping right in. So leader tree for Jerome. We have a few. We're not going to quite catch all of these. But we're going to catch as many as we can. Up on screen now you have recon training, which increases line of sight for infantry and vehicles. Pretty cool. You've got time for heroes, which inspires units, increasing their damage and armor, also giving them a bonus to speed. It takes effect when you're below 35 population, so at a tier 2 skill seems pretty good, especially if you're getting it early in the game, and it is a passive power, and honestly probably one of the better passive powers that we've seen for some of the leaders. As we move over, it looks like we got restoration drones. I'm not sure what the second one in the first tier is quite yet, but we should be moving over here in just a second. We have enduring salvo, which literally drops debris. We'll see that here later on from the enduring conviction, kind of an area effect bombardment. We also have the victory turret, which drops a turret, which also inspires nearby troops. We have field promotion, which is actually pretty cool. Promotes all non-promoted units to veteran status level 1. And then the top tier leader tree power that we have is Omega Team, which is dropping in 3 Spartans. So we're going to do a little bit of gameplay, and I'm going to cover in Halo Waypoint. The community update is where we're getting a lot of this information, so I'll actually link that in the description below so you can check out the 2 full episodes that they have going on covering a lot of this. You can see the full first 5 rounds of the Terminus Firefight in all of its glory. Here's the debris getting dropped, which is actually really awesome because it's just debris. Pretty cool. Seems to be pretty good. We've got restoration drones in there. We also are seeing right there on the screen that what looks like a 6-wheeled vehicle is actually the Mastodon. So we'll talk more specifically about Jerome's new units, as well as Jerome as the leader himself. So he is going to be coming in. In the gameplay you're going to be able to see just a little bit of him, and you kind of see those salvos that just went across right now. He's going to be equipped with a shield. We know he's going to have the ability to inspire. That seems a pretty consistent theme throughout him, as well as his units. Obviously we have the turret that's actually getting dropped in now that will inspire, which is kind of that golden aura around him, so helping his units out. But he's also going to have a modified Hydra weapon, which is pretty cool, which is what you're seeing. So all in all, I think he's going to be a pretty solid leader. They did solidify a few additional details. As a Spartan, even though he is a Spartan, he is not going to be able to hijack units, which I think is interesting. As a leader unit, the fact that he can't hijack, even though he is a Spartan, it may be a good thing because some of the issues they had with some of the Hunter Captain and some of the other leaders when they garrison, I could see them falling into the same trap. But at the same time, it takes a little bit away from it. But he is a commander unit, so it kind of makes sense on both sides. I see both sides. So in addition to that, he's also going to have the capability to bring in a command mantis, which is kind of one of his special units, if you will. I haven't seen any gameplay of this, or haven't seen the ability to actually bring this in yet, so I'd be curious to see where this plays in. But it's essentially a powered up mantis equipped with an advanced energy shield as well as twin energy lasers, so pretty cool. The Mastodon is going to be another one of his new units that we're going to see. For those of you that played Halo Wars 1, honestly reminds me a lot of the Elephant. I think it's kind of a variation of that, the capability to put troops in the back, infantry troops in the back, armored up. It seems to be pretty good. Seems like it could definitely take a lot of damage. So it's kind of one of those more tanky units. I imagine its DPS won't be the best, but the fact that you can throw some infantry units in and kind of get them moving around at the beginning is pretty cool. So look forward to seeing how those work. And then, as we saw, the top tier leader power for him is actually going to be able to bring in Omega Team, which is really awesome. They've got some variation on some of their weapons from what we would probably be used to, but I really can't wait to see, and I really do wish we would have got some gameplay of them being dropped in, but I guess they're saving that either for kind of full release details or for us to get our hands on it, so really looking forward to that. But overall, I know people were kind of confused. I was kind of confused as well, since he was already one of the Spartans that could be called in. But the fact that we're getting him, what he kind of brings to the table, and how they're making him a little bit different as a leader, I do look forward to him. I like his ability. Obviously, it really fits with the Spartan theme. The fact that they can inspire, kind of get that front line, get into the action is pretty neat. And it'll just be interesting to see some of the strategies that play out, especially in multiplayer, honestly, with some of his leader powers and the tree that he has right there. So looking forward to it. I think it should be pretty neat, and I think he's going to be a good leader. It really will depend on how much he costs, honestly, what the upgrades are, and then how, a lot of it really depends too on how good Omega Team is going to be, as well as the Mastodon. So again, full details, you can check those out down below at the link. Go over to the Halo Waypoint, their community update, and it has some pretty cool screenshots and art mock-ups of some of that as well. So this will kind of wrap up. I will make a few notes before we jump over to the Arbiter that I think is pretty neat. I kind of like how Terminus Firefight's set up. I like that you see the waves. I like that it gives you that countdown timer, and then you can also check out and see. It kind of gives you a heads up about what's coming next. So I think this is going to be one of my more favorite game modes to play, especially cooperative. So I am looking forward to that. So jumping over to the Arbiter, I will say the screenshot that they have on the forum community post is really sweet of the Arbiter. So we're going to jump right in. We're going to take a look at the leader tree. We've got stasis mine right up front, which is something I think that we see relatively normal or comparative across a lot of the banished, which is allowing the deployment of a mine that stuns and also immobilizes enemy units. The immobilized part is the only one for me that we'll have to see the effectiveness of it, just for the sole fact that some of the EMP effects, some of the other immobilized effects, they're not always the greatest, which is probably good because that probably makes them a little balanced, but at the same time, we'll have to see. So Plasma Bolt, this is definitely a new leader power that we're seeing, firing a Plasma Bolt at the targeted location. We'll see that a little bit later. Honestly, a pretty good AoE, and the fact that it comes in at the tier 2, pretty good. We have the capability right there to unlock the Phantom, which is Arbiter's one of his special troops. We have Elite Spirit Assault, allows the deployment of 4 squads of veteran elite enforcers. Enforcers are another special unit for the Arbiter, so pretty cool there. And I've always been a fan of the veteran units, to be really honest, especially when they drop in. We'll see what veteran level they actually come in at, but typically this is a pretty good bang for the buck, so I'll be interested to see how this leader power kind of works out and how often people will use this. And again, the one just to the right of that allows you to unlock and purchase the Phantom, which is a flying unit, which I think most are probably pretty familiar with. So kind of the one thing that I think we're seeing across the board with these 2 new leaders is the capability to bring in and unlock purchases for 2 units. The one that very quickly got skipped over there was Stasis. We're going back to it right here. It temporarily puts a protection essentially either over enemy or over friendly, either to help save them for the friendlies or help neutralize them for enemies. So that's going to be a really interesting leader power. And then we have Power Surge, which I think is going to be one of the better ones, which reduces the cooldown and cost of all leader powers. So really interesting there. We don't get a chance, sadly, to take a look at the top two. I know there's been some posts around, and there's been some good stuff talking through what the rest of them are. But honestly, from the ones that we've seen here, Conduit of Rage, nearby units and structures heal, gain a brief boost to speed and damage, and this is when a leader power is used. And consecutive leader powers extend the buff, which is actually really neat. So it seems like as kind of I won't necessarily say, I would guess, but it seems like the play style for this for the Arbiter is going to be pretty heavily focused actually on the use of leader powers, which is really interesting. The reason I say this doesn't really surprise me, and those of you that played the original Halo Wars will probably agree with me that leader powers were pretty good back in the day, at least abilities that they had. Here is the Plasma Torpedo, so pretty good little area of effect. Not the biggest, not the best, but definitely probably worthwhile to pick up. So it's going to be interesting to see. We'll finish up. We'll just roll through some gameplay. We'll get to see some of the Flood rolling through, kind of as we talk about the Arbiter and go in a little bit more detail for the specific units. So again, we have the two new units, the Enforcers and the Phantom. The Enforcers are going to be fast-moving, battle-hardened Sangheili. They're going to be armed with plasma rifles, casters, as well as plasma grenades, which are going to be deployed and replace, the jump pack brutes, excelling in hit-and-run tactics, rush into attack, and then disengage to allow energy shields to regenerate. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see. This is definitely kind of a shift, obviously, for a banished leader, getting rid of the jump pack brutes. But I think in the right hands, these guys, especially pretty early into a game, can be pretty good. So I'll be interested to see what people do with this. We also have the Phantom, which is going to be a fast, heavily armored aerial transport, available obviously only to the Arbiter. These actually are probably some of the cooler art style, and probably one of the neatest new troops that I've seen in a while, at least as far as the art perspective, and just kind of how they're modeled, especially with the armor and everything. So it'll be interesting to see how these are kind of giving an extra boost to the air capability of a leader, which we really haven't seen in quite a while, to be honest with you. I'll be curious to see again how powered up these guys are, what their damage output is, what their capability to take damage is. But it's definitely an interesting wrinkle, and gives banished players really a new avenue to approach, especially since we've been seeing a lot of Banshees as of late. So the one real big detail missing from a lot of this is we don't get a ton of details about the Arbiter. The only thing I can say, which seems like a pretty good understanding, is that while we have with Jerome on the one hand the Inspire mechanic, we're going to have essentially the Fear mechanic on the opposite side, reducing armor to those kinds of effects. So you kind of get a little bit of a yin and yang. It is important to note that both of these leaders, if you don't own the Season Pass, will be available. They're doing a bundle for $9.99. I think you can buy them individually for $5.99. So that's good to know. No specific release date has been said yet, so just keep that in mind. We'll continue to monitor, and hopefully we'll be hearing something soon. June is supposed to be release date. So far, nothing's been out. We're getting pretty close to the end of June, but I'm hopeful maybe potentially next week we'll see it, but who knows. There have been a few additional kind of sneak peeks. They're doing updates, a big update and a big bug fix to, as they say, improve the player experience. And they listed just a few things that are kind of on the horizon, so I want to run through those very quickly, as some of them are pretty impactful, to be honest. The first one, right up front, hero units are going to be enhanced. They're going to make them quicker to field, tougher, and more powerful when upgraded. This is interesting to me, especially from the perspective that I feel like they were relatively well balanced, at least in Blitz. I know in multiplayer it was a little bit dicey at times, so it'll be interesting to see kind of how the effect for this happens. I think this is probably more geared towards multiplayer, but only really time will tell. But pretty neat. I think that's going to be interesting. They're going to hide player gamer tags and rank in pre-match screens. We haven't ever seen rank before, so I don't know why that was noted. But player game tag I think is interesting, which will, I guess, kind of slightly address some issues people have been having, especially in the competitive realms, facing the same people, especially if you know what rank they are already. And I guess maybe rank, I was thinking of it as far as skill level rank, and probably this is more so talking about what actual level rank they are, which I guess does have an effect, so that does make sense now that I kind of talk it through. Banish shield stacking bonuses are going to be reduced. This is something people have been asking for a while. Garrison bonuses are reduced for hero units, so hopefully we get no more of the colony garrisoning in and essentially being unkillable. They're tuning pass for tier 2 vehicles, essentially to increase their punch and cost effectiveness. Scout units are going to be adjusted to bring them more in line with each other. This one's bolded, so I think hopefully this will be a good move. Supply pad upgrade time is going to be reset. Not really sure what that is, to be honest. Saved game bug fixed and game progress restored for affected players. So it seems like there's still some syncing of save data and the game, which that's obviously terrible to hear, especially with how long this game has been out. Kind of hate to hear that, so that needs to get fixed, and hopefully it will in this next update. They're increasing the maximum camera scroll and fast scroll speeds, which I actually really like. There are definitely times where I'm a big fast scroller. I'm not as much of a jump around with the D-pad as I probably should be, so having an increased fast scroll is going to definitely help me there. And they're also going to add in an alternate unit sub selection control, which I always think is great. Anytime you can increase the capability to sub-select your units is a great addition. So that rounds this out. Thank you guys so very much for watching. Hopefully it was informational, and hopefully you're starting to kind of build up a little bit of hype. I am trying to stay relatively calm about this, especially since we haven't heard of an official release date yet. But hopefully it will be on the way. As always, stay tuned to the channel. Make sure to subscribe. Follow us on Twitter. That link's in the description. Join the Average Gamer Guys Club. We're also going to be doing a live stream this Sunday at 8 p.m. We're going to be doing a community Let's Play, so hop in, take a look at that. We're going to be playing some Hawken. We've got a video up on the channel talking about it. It's free to download, so feel free to hang out with us this Sunday. But yeah, I've enjoyed making these, and again, hopefully they were informational for you guys. Again, if you want to check out all the details, go down into the description. But I've been Doc with Average Gamer Guys. As always, as soon as this thing pops out and we actually get our hands on the DLC, tons more content, Halo Wars 2 coming to the channel. But thanks again for watching, and we'll check in the next one.